A couple weeks ago now, I made a video where I theorized this.
So what I kind of thought would be fun is, what if Wilds is the time that we finally do get the baby monsters? Not the monsters that have a small version that's a small monster to their large, but literally the baby monsters.
And you all laughed at me! You all called me crazy! That's a goddamn baby pukei if I ever saw one!
Hello, my fellow hunters then. Oh yes, welcome to this, my usual traditional rundown of every single confirmed monster, living thing, and stabbable entity that we now know is in Wilds. We're up to 14, or maybe 13, I'll let you decide, and that is very exciting to say we're only 2 trailers deep. So without further ado, let's go over every beastie in Wilds, what I've noticed about them, and, well, some such tasty morsels of informational goodness. Beginning then, let's get it out the way. Of course, on the large monster front, Rathalos, the only monster in Wilds that didn't make a second appearance or new appearance in the second trailer. And yeah, he's there. It's Rathalos. We know Rathalos. He's always going to be there. He just gets in everything, you know. It's like mice. In any case, that's all well and good. So let's move on to the exciting stuff. Not that Rathalos isn't, but you know what I'm saying. In doshaguma, our bears. Our lovely new fanged beasts that these are confirmed to be, and, well, they've got faces only a mother could love. But interestingly enough, they have varied faces. They have varied sizes, varied hair colours, varied little details to their aesthetics, which makes sense because if you've got a pack of them, which is what they do, it would be very, you know, gamey that they're all just clones of each other, and you can't just get around that by making sizes a bit different. So there is actual aesthetic uniqueness between members of the pack, which I think is a really nice touch and really kind of shows the detail they're going for in Wilds. Other than that, a very much adapted sandstorm-dwelling creature, little tiny eyes to prevent the grains getting in them, the ears very much flat against the head, there's no big openings to get blasted by, again, sand. It is nice to see that kind of design, very rugged, the camo-y fur to blend in with said sand, and the big weight-distributing paws like a polar bear has for snow to, you know, again, walk over and run very fast while still on loose sand. These guys are ferocious, territorial, aggressive, and generally look kind of actually horrifying, to say they seem to be the very first large monster we will hunt, and the kind of great Jagras entry-level guy for Wilds. It really says a lot about what they're going for and what the hell are like the apex monsters or the elder dragons, God forbid, gonna end up being like. In any case, yeah, they are really fun. They throw other little monsters at you, the herbivores, which is a nice touch too, and generally there seems to be a lot to them. Then we have ourselves a chatacabra, our new amphibian. Now it is using the monkey skeleton, but is an amphibian, which I think is a lovely touch. That Garangome-esque frame, and indeed it shares some animations with him. The big licky sticky tongue, the Devil Joe-esque jaw, and his whole shtick, apart from looking absolutely beautiful, and I will protect him with my life, is that he licks his arms and then uses the adhesive quality of the spit to stick rocks and other bits to them to enhance himself, and you can see him actually do it while fighting the hunter. I imagine he might have a variety of options here, not just rocks for more damage, but the fact that he already has this kind of mechanic going on is really nice to see, and I get the feeling he will like to spend his time around the oases and more sticking to the greener parts when things aren't as sandstormy. Beyond him then, we have Seikret, our mount that is clearly a large monster, of course a tame one that we ride, but a bird wyvern, and a very clever, agile, nimble one at that. Clearly trainable, obviously, given that's what's happening, and it can do a lot of things for us. Capable in combat, and lets us fire the slinger from it. It'll track monsters for you. I just hope that we can customize it, but at the very least it does seem to be bursting with personality, and I'm really excited to see how it develops and weaves in as we go through the game. Then we have our mystery, either snake wyvern or leviathan, that is sand swimming through the sand trap pit when the doshagumas are caught in it. How big this is hard to tell. It seems almost bulky enough to be at least annoying for a doshaguma. It's definitely as long as it. It gets thrown at the hunter. You can see its ridged scales. It's got dalthydon spines. Its mouth looks kind of horrific, with almost like a split jaw filled with teeth. It kind of gives me sandwormy vibes. It's hard to tell exactly what's going on with this, or whether it's even technically a large monster, but I've put it here because I think on balance it seems likely to be, chiefly because it's by itself in the sandpit trying to kill the doshaguma. It feels like a Beotodus Banbaro situation going on here, especially with the wrapping around that it tries to do with him. It's very reminiscent of their turf war, but at the very least, yeah, this mystery sand trap swimming snaky or leviathan-y monster is something to keep an eye on, and of course definitively in the game. Then, the biggest of stretches, we have, and this is the one you can decide for yourself, the yian represented in Gemma's little plushie that she's got on her belt. Whether this actually translates to anything, or is just a little bit of a monster Easter egg, which is entirely likely to be, but I still think yian deserves another run out, and I could totally see it happening, but that is definitely a thing, and hey, it is a monster in the trailer, okay, so I would be remiss to not point it out when talking about them all. Then we move on to the small monsters. We have the ceratonoth, our lightning-attracting, spired new herbivores. The big ones with the spikes, presumably the males, protecting the babies and the rest of the herd with their absorbency, though it does seem like they can almost will it to happen from a few of the things they've done in this trailer, but at the very least they're still quite chunky herbivores, and the fact that doshaguma throws them around so easily is kind of ridiculous, but they do seem like a really solid addition. It's a shame that it looks like maybe Aptonoth is not happening, but we've not seen the other locales yet. I really like them as a good example of, you know, the standard herd herbivore to show off the herd mechanic in a non-threatening setting, and how they actually play with the weather that is the whole shtick in the Windward Plains is a really, really nice thing to have. Then we have the dalthydon, our Kestodon-esque guys with the big bony crest. One of them gets eaten by a small monster we'll talk about in a moment, and generally, yeah, just another powerful herd herbivore. Powerful, you know, relatively, not so much towards other monsters, but, you know, if one was exist in real life, it would be a little bit upsetting. In any case, there's not much to say about these guys. They are just filling in the ranks in the background to have some varied wildlife, because if it was all ceratonoth, it would be a little bit suspect. Then we have a mysterious unnamed wing drake that is flying around. I actually can't tell if it's a Noyos or not. We don't really get a good look at it, but at the very least, a wing drake is there, so that's nice. Wing drake's carrying over, that makes sense, given it is a new world based, and that would be strange to not see, and I do wonder if we will actually use them to grapple onto like we could in World and Iceborne, or if they'll just be in the background harassing you during other fights. Following on, we have said unnamed small monster lizard that comes out of the sort of muddy, rained-on, stormed-on ground to grab himself a tasty dalthydon meal. I absolutely adore this guy, and I guess technically he would be the Leviathan skeleton, right? Just not a watery-based creature at all, just honestly a standard big lizard. So maybe he could actually be a fanged wyvern. Thinking about it, that might be a little bit more likely, but he does give me Uroktor vibes in his general shape and frame, but we shall see. In either case, his existence is exciting because A, he's adorable, he's a big vicious little lizard, and I want to give him some lovely pets, but also, him but made bigger and new large monster, yeah, that's very, very exciting, and generally skeletons don't just get used once for a single small monster, so the hope is there. Then we have the unnamed new bird wyvern in our new basic raptor that look really gnarly. Like, I love the design of these things. The kind of like bony hook head that they've got. They're very skeletal and sharp. They really do look like they're lean and designed for this harsh, stormy desert, and they've got some actual power to back it up when they swarm and attack our chatacabra in what I assume is a many small monster on one large monster turf war, which is very cool that that's a thing now. Yeah, he looks like he is actually having to struggle a little bit to get it to stop, which is really neat, and that's, you know, a thing. Like, lots of small pack predators attacking one big thing to bring it down is very common, and something that in hindsight we should see more in Monster Hunter. So these guys seem to really be capable of being an actual threat in great enough numbers to a much larger monster to themselves, and I really, really like them. And again, you see that aesthetic, visual, subtle differences between members of the same species here across everything, which is lovely. Then we go on to, I'm going to call it endemic life, but I'm not sure if that's the right term. The birds on the back of the ceratonoth, that one's easy. They're just going to be probably nettable. I imagine that mechanic will come back. They're just, you know, standard new deserty birds. That's all well and good. Very common for birds to hang around on rhinos and elephants and stuff, feed off the random insects on them and all of that loveliness, and it's good to see it represented here. That's not the most exciting thing in the world. The next two, however, more so. We have the small/baby versions of the new raptors, if indeed they are. I feel like they are, but they're so much smaller, and they don't yet have that bony, distinct head crest that they might be their own thing. But if they are just baby versions of the new bird wyvern standard raptor, then are we going to be able to capture them as endemic life and therefore have technically a baby monster as one of our pets? So that raises the question, especially when we talk about our final confirmed baby Pukei, who is rightfully causing a lot of waves. Now, the first question to answer, of course, is it a Pukei? Well, the tail is the one thing that would suggest no, but it's entirely possible it just grows in as they grow up. Especially in the Monster Hunter world, the small versions of things, the baby versions, can look very different from the adults, but also we see that a lot in real life in nature too, but everything else matches. It's got the same starts of the yellow googly eyes, it's got the head sort of eyebrow ridge that Pukei has, it's got the exact same shades of colours, the same wing shapes with the little circles at the end. Like, it's hard to look at this as anything other than, yeah, a baby Pukei. And the thing is, it's too small to be a small monster, which is why it's in the endemic life category, but it is technically a baby version of a regular large monster. So A, does that mean Pukei is actually in the game? It would be weird if not, if there's a baby one in the wild. It's not like a baby Tetsu in Kimura situation where it's just a one-off, like, haha, look at it. It's kind of like having the Zamites and the Eructors around without Zamtrios and Ignactor, which of course has happened, but this feels very much more deliberate. In any case, if it's endemic life-sized, and therefore it's capturable in a net, if that is a thing that we can do again, then we could totally capture a baby Pukei and have it as a pet in our room or whatever equivalent, which is adorable and incredible. This thing by itself has so many implications and potential, and I'm really excited to see it. Will we get many other clearly baby versions of other monsters roaming the Forbidden Lands in a real extra little detail of nature and immersion that they've talked about wanting to provide? And that there is everything that we know for sure, for fact, is in Wilds. I do want to throw out a few. I will be very surprised if it's not in Wilds, because, well, it seems like it's likely to be. And the first of that is, you know, adult Pukei based off the baby. We also have the usual Rathian, because of course Rathian is in everything. Rathalos is here. That would make sense. Then we have ourselves something a little bit more in Jen Moran, or at least Darren Moran, or a big CG sand swimmer. We have the sand ship, we have the desert, we have seen a small sand swimming leviathan-esque creature in the pit, so siege monster coming back, use the sand ship, a bit of Jen again. It's a little bit hopeful, but at the same time, Ooh, it's not impossible anymore, right? It is definitely something that could happen based on what we know and what we've seen, and I will take that for now. Then, past that, I would, of course, say Legiacrus, just on sheer popularity, and the fact we seemingly do have the Leviathan skeleton here, so that's something to look out for. For now then, though, I hope you have enjoyed that. That is everything living that we will be able to make not living, and then some hopefuls too. Let me know what your thoughts are, or, you know, if you've spotted anything that I haven't. But for now, like if you enjoyed this, subscribe and hit the bell for more. Consider supporting the future of the channel on Patreon down below, and until we meet again, a goodbye.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.